Up today is identify and describe the layers of Earth that you and your group know already. So there's a couple here. There's kind of the four, but then there's some intermediate ones that you may know about or may not know about. You want to start us off, Kate, and give us one and where it is. Okay, so there's one. We got that. Crust is on the outside. Then let's make our way in from there. Right underneath the crust, Daisy, is the... Okay, anything in between? Kayla, however you say it. That's what I said.
No, you said Kayla.
It's what? Kyla, what were you about to say before we got rudely interrupted? Huh? Wonderful. That was Kyla with the outer layer. Yes. All right. Would you care to help her out?
I'm pretty sure it's the outer.
Nope.
No.
We're gonna keep going. All right. So far we've got the crust. Under that we've got the next layer that's called the mantle. There's one in there I'll teach you about. And then underneath, do you know what the mantle is made up of? Can you get more specific? Zane is the one. Zane does not know. Hot rocks.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Hot rock.
So we've got the crust, we got the mantle. Underneath the mantle, we've got our next layer. Zane. Okay, we've got outer core, and then the next layer in. Very good. So we've got those four layers. Do you know what the outer and inner core are made of? Say it one more time. Yeah, good memory. Nice job. Can you guys stop with side conversations, please? Thank you. No, that's the cue. Okay. So we've got those things. We've got those layers that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what they're made up of. We're going to talk about how they feel, like if you were to feel them, what they would feel like. And we'll also talk about how we know, or how we think we know, what they're actually like, because we've never been there before, and we're not going to get there probably in our lifetime. Your notes today need to have the code 320. The essential question which goes on your top line is that. It says, what differences exist between Earth's layers? Topic for today is layers of Earth, and your page is 13 and 14. This that we've got up here is a picture, kind of like an exploded view they would call it, of the Earth and the different layers that are in here. And you know, so we talked about four layers, right? Crust, mantle, inner core, and outer core. But you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers here. So we're going to add one more in for you and talk about those different layers that do exist. So in general, right, there are 3 sections of the Earth in general. And you've got them, right? There's the crust, the mantle, and the core are kind of the 3 big parts of Earth. But those things can be divided up. So we're going to work our way from the outside in. And if you already know, I should say this too. Your notes are your notes. If I'm writing stuff down up here that you already know, that you don't need notes on, then by all means, don't write it down. Right? If you already know that 2 plus 2 is 4, you don't need to write that down as a note in your math class. Same goes for this stuff. You write down in your notes whatever it is you don't know or what it is you need to know. Am I good to slide this over?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to start on the very outside, and I'm willing to bet you guys know most of this stuff already. So if we start with the crust, right? That's the outermost layer that we're talking about out here. What is it mostly made up of? Dirt is not the right answer. Nope. Starts with nar. There we go. Yeah, so mostly the crust is made of rocks, right? And not rocks as in it's not like you dig down and you just be digging through dirt the whole way. I'm talking about like solid layers of rock that are laid down, right? So it wouldn't be like I'm digging through M&Ms or something like that where you get different pebbles of everything. It's like solid layers of rock. It's not like that on the surface because the weather has affected it and stuff has happened and rocks have been broken down and made soil. But once you get down far enough, we're talking about solid layers of rock all the way through. Right, so we've got rocks that it's made up of, and there are two different types of crust on the Earth's surface. Do you guys know the names of the two different types of crust? Donovan? Oh. I bet you do. You're probably just thinking it's too simple or something, yeah.
Isn't something like underwater is different?
Yep.
Okay, well then, that's all I know.
Okay, it's a start.
Something about that.
So we got the one that we're on right now, and this is called continental. And I don't know if that's how you spell it, but if it's not, it's pretty close. You can at least sound it out. Oh. T. Continental. There we go. So I knew it didn't look right, but I couldn't figure it out.
I always like how I misspell
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. Oh well. It is what it is. So we've got continental crust, and that's the one that we're on right now. That's like crust that forms land, right? That's the stuff that we're on. It is thicker, right? So a couple characteristics of it. This stuff is thicker. And one more characteristic about it, it is less dense. Yep. And less dense just means this, that if you had like continental crust and this other crust that we're going to talk about, and you had equal size of it, like 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot squares of this stuff, the continental crust, even though it was the same size, it would weigh less than this other stuff because it's less. We've never gotten through this with any of like our technology or anything. We don't have a drill that can drill through it. We don't have a machine that can go. We don't have a robot that can go down there. We got nothing. We have never ever been through that outermost layer of our crust. So, and that comparably isn't very thick compared to the rest of the stuff. But we've never been through that layer at all. So we've got that type, the continental, and then there's a second type to go along with it. No, it does not start with sub. Not the underwater. Yeah. And that is thinner. And that stuff's thinner, and it's more dense because it's getting compacted all the time by all that water that sits on top of it. And this matters. This less dense, more dense matters for a specific reason. And you may know about it, but plates collide, right? Like they move towards each other. And because of this, they always behave predictably. The oceanic crust, when it meets, always goes underneath because it's more dense and wants to sink, and this one always goes on top because it's less dense and forces the other one down. And that's why we've got mountain range. That's why all these mountains out here, because of like the action of those things. It's like the top of the mantle, and it's got a weird name based on like a Greek, I think it's Greek god. Remember the Greek god of love?
Aphrodite.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong then, because that sounds right. So maybe I'm wrong. Oh, got it. This is the Greek god that was married to Zeus. Dang it, I'm still wrong. Yeah, I thought it was Athena. Isn't it Athena?
Yeah, Athena.
Oh, she was the god of beauty, right? Yeah, which obviously it didn't rub off on me, but I thought I had it there. Right underneath this little thin layer you can see here is called the Athenosphere. So that's the next one we're going to get down. Enough side conversation, please. Shh. So the Athenosphere is the next one down. And it's kind of like it's a layer between the solid rock shell of our planet and the liquid part of our planet that's underneath it. Because if you can imagine, it doesn't go from like liquid rock, which is here, to solid rock, which is right there. There's a layer in between, That's kind of the transition from liquid to solid. You know how, like, if you could picture, like, I've got Play-Doh around somewhere. If you could picture Play-Doh, right, it's not quite a solid, and it's not quite a liquid, even though it does meet the definition of a liquid. It's kind of like in between, right? This layer in between is like that. So it's kind of, we'll call it like a plastic state would be a decent way to say it. Yeah, so it's not solid. Technically it's a liquid, but because of our understanding of the word liquid, it doesn't do it justice. But it's kind of like plastic. Like it's bendable, it's moldable. You could it's like, hey Kai. Okay, Nick, can you step in the hall? Because I've lost my patience right now with you guys talking when I'm trying to talk and doing stuff to distract. So this ends. I don't know what. I'm going to write semi-melted rock. Is this marker too dim? Okay. So plastic semi-melted rock that's there. So it's a layer in between. It's like the buffer between the liquid part and the solid part. Then it sounds like you guys know what comes next. What's next on the list? Yeah. So the mantle comes next, and I think you even know what it's made up of. Yep. So molten, not lava. What do you call lava when it's underground? Magma. Yeah. So you don't have to write molten because magma is molten, but I'll write molten rock, right? Which is really magma. So molten rock, magma underneath there. This is like the biggest chunk of our Earth. If you look at the percentage of composition, this is the biggest chunk of our Earth in terms of space and mass, is that thing. So it's the mantle is molten rock. It's the biggest part. Of our whole Earth.